podcast where we put you on the map. This is Ron Costa broadcasting live from the Mappable USA studios in Las Vegas, Nevada. And folks out there, how many people remember the pre-internet days? Boy, that's a while back. But today we're going to talk about a technology that we may be looking to disrupt a number of industries in a number of different ways. You may not even realize it, but this is certainly something you want to hear. In order to do that, let's introduce Vicky Hutchmala from the World Token Market. Vicky, how are you doing today?
I'm outstanding, Ron. I say it every time we do this. Excellent day in Vegas. We're happy because it's cooling down and perfect weather for, outdoor sports and activities. And today we have a very interesting guest. I'm very excited because today we're going to talk about blockchain and the digital world. So let's get started.
There's so much to talk about. So let's introduce Sydney Armani. Sydney is the CEO of Fintech World. Sydney, how are you doing today?
Well, hey, Ron. Hey, Vicky. Good to be with you guys. I'm doing fine, and I'm here in Silicon Valley, actually, in Palo Alto, California, and saying hello to you guys and people, your listeners.
Yes, well, I'll tell you, that's where all the technology gets done, right? In your area there. It's an amazing part of the country.
Yeah, used to, but, a lot of places right now with all this social distancing, there's a lot of innovations around the, country and around the world for that matter. So Silicon Valley is the place to be, but not anymore, basically. Still a lot of VCs and other people there, but it's just a place that I've been here in the last 20 years. But I'm a New Yorker and been here. But, yeah, I've seen a lot of these companies actually evolving here. But I speak around the world about this, and so Silicon Valley is everywhere. You can start it in your own community. So that's what basically it is.
Yeah, and like before we get into this blockchain discussion, let's talk about you a little bit. Can you give us a little bit of a background on what you've been doing and how you kind of got into this technology?
Yeah, no, actually, I've been in technology for a long time, early days of the, cellular phone, paging system. Remember those pages that you had, basically, and then, we call them beepers, so I had those, I was involved in those technology, and also, yeah, it's an old say, but it worked, actually. You could actually page somebody and they call you back. Yeah, and, voice processing systems and other things, voicemail, press 1, press 2. So I've been in telecommunication, over 40 years right now, so whatever will be a fiber optics, so it's a very new technology. And then so in the last 20 years in Silicon Valley and working as a VC and, also investors in a couple of companies. So basically that's my background. So, and, we're usually looking for, that's what basically is a lot of new technology will be streaming that, you never thought would be right now, sitting home and stream your movies, your videos, and at your demand. So that's how I got into this. And now we're going to talk about, blockchain technology, this is the next big thing, because the last big thing was the cloud. Anybody didn't know when you had the commercial on television said cloud and think about rainy day or something like that. But cloud is big things right now. Everything we use, including this broadcast that you do, is in the cloud. So now we're talking about the digital technology, basically, which is that's blockchain technology.
Yeah, let's get into that a little bit. What is blockchain, if you had to define it? Is there a definition for what that technology is?
Yeah, a very simple way to define the technology. It just came by the accident in a way of people that, finding, and that's a good thing, usually come by just accident. A lot of these kids actually, they started doing decentralized money after, 2006 or 2007, the economic, the banks broke down and all those other things. So they started actually doing, this Bitcoin or cryptocurrency somehow, and how they do it, instead of having centralized one place like central bank, they started having decentralized, and transparent money, basically, crypto money. So let's say that, you go with your wallet, basically, and you show your wallet, your digital wallet, as they call it, and all these elements comes together from different places and create this crypto, basically. That's called blockchain, basically. That's these things evolve. So it's really a decentralized information. And it's just very great because you can track it, and there's no way anybody can scam it. There's no way anyone can, do something on it, or crypto, because it's crypto. Let's say, for instance, and right recently, some of these big companies, they got hacked, like this credit card company, some of them, they got hacked basically because they could be able to go and hack them and one centralized data. But in the crypto technology and blockchain technology, you cannot do that because it takes all other elements to be able to to get access to that data. Really, a blockchain technology in a very soft, very common knowledge. It's a decentralized information. Will it be anything for the healthcare? Will it be in other way of basically? And so it's the base of this technology. It's they call it blockchain technology.
Well, yeah. What industries, Sydney? What industries do you think will be most impacted by the blockchain, or most disrupted from the blockchain, or be able to use it to their benefit in the best way?
Yeah. So this is all evolving right now, and it's basically evolving. The big companies like IBM is already actually right now. If you listen to some of their advertisement on television, they're trying to bring the word itself, blockchain, to the mainstream. And also Oracle. So there are people behind the scene. They pick up this technology and they started doing things basically with it. And it's going to affect a lot of different places, basically a lot of industry. And that's a good question, by the way, Vicky. And one of the best ones that it can do, it's supply and chain basically. Supply chain, because when you buy something from somewhere, overseas, that exactly know where you buy it, where you did, what happened until it comes to the grocery. You can kind of track it by the blockchain. Because let's say, the guy who sells it, the farmer, they send the information. The guy who ship it, they send the information. The guy who pick it up and bring it to the grocery store, they send the information. So these are, kind of a access of these blockchain data comes together. So supply chain is very well doing it because it's more of a transparent. This thing is basically trade finance is very big. These are big, big things. But in everyday life, basically, on works, for the capital market, they're working on most of the capital market like stock market and digital. You're creating digital asset, digital identity on the blockchain technology. So let's say, per se, you have this building, but you want to know what's going on in this building. And, instead of calling from plumber to the electrician to all the other, they put this information in the beginning in this blockchain, and they will access the basically, engineers, access the people want to know what's going on basically. So that's another one. One of the other thing is the best thing for this technology that is evolving is healthcare. So let's say somebody goes to the doctor, instead of doctor know what your type blood is, what history you have, and whether you've been to this hospital or that hospital, or where you have your problem is your history of your family or yourself basically. So instead of call these doctor called one by one, you have a lot of key basically access key. You give it to the secretary of the doctor, and they can access it at your permission to all this data basically. So that in the healthcare is very important, and that's one of the technologies. So you have to remember this technology is just behind the scene. Same thing as a cloud. It doesn't it just automatically happens and sending information from different various other places to this. This another thing is basically working in a bigger scale. Is like airplane parts. Airplane parts basically because a lot of people buy it, sell it there, and do that. Or doing, kind of changing it with blockchain technology that can track, see this part has been, where it has been, what has happened. It's very, in a way of a distributed ledger, basically. That's what happens. So you know exactly what's going on your demand. Right.
We've done a couple of podcasts with Alistair Cathnes, who has created a blockchain for the oil and gas industry to allow people to invest in drilling locations for major oil companies and create some liquidity there. And we also did a podcast with Brian Collins and Mark Olenowitz from Horizon Fintech, and they create the blockchain for companies, but they also have created a blockchain for governments. Ron, I can't remember what government, I think it was Angora, that they created a blockchain to manage the entire government. I think blockchain is just limited to the creativity of the people who have the vision. If you can think it and adapt it, you can use the blockchain for just about anything at all.
Yeah, no, here in America, basically where we are, and the U.S. government actually working with the blockchain technology, and they have TAF, enables government, local, state, and federal to become more efficient, and so better serve the society, so
exactly.
That's going to be basically work. So, so we have it here, and it's it is just happening. It's going to be basically, so exactly, where you have to pay taxes, where you have to. So it's very efficient way of finding information, and the best thing is decentralized. So you don't need, it's not hackable. The data is not one place. So. And, as you said about this gentleman over here, we don't advise anybody to invest any of this in our company. Basically, we have a couple of the, project basically we're working on. And, this is all starting. When the SEC starting going, the regulation is a big part of it but these regulations and compliances is evolving. So I really tell to your listeners to be very careful to invest anything, something. This is not another gold, 49ers or anything like that. It's not like that. This is the technology. It's evolving. It's just like telephone. Right now, everybody's talking about, G5, with G4. So it's got to evolve one by one. But one of the best thing is basically it's liquidity, in the real estate. Speaking of that, they create this, algorithm basically. So you buy a real estate, you create a digital asset, then you'll be able to buy partial of these particular buildings on the blockchain. They don't know each other. So you can buy a share, I'll buy a share, and that liquidates that. That's never happened. And that's on the blockchain technology. That's never happened. But again, I want to, whoever listened to this is all evolving technology. It's not, hit and run. It's not something like this internet. You talk about internet. I was there in Silicon Valley, when doing the back in .bombs. A lot of company were legit. A lot of company, they came and they just vanishes, So it's like anything else that you got to wait until to see evolving. But the technology itself, that's what we're talking about, is here to stay. And it's going to help tremendously, basically, in healthcare, digital finance, on real estate, in government, in supply and chain, what I mentioned to you. So these are the, behind infrastructure of that thing. So that's technology. It's here to stay.
It took a lot of people a long time to figure out what the internet was all about, and it basically changed the whole world. So this is kind of the same thing. But I think one of the confusions, Sydney, about blockchain is, the internet is one big network of computers. A blockchain, there are separate blockchains, aren't there? Like, if you're doing this let's say real estate technology kind of thing, that's going to be separate from a blockchain that, say, tracks medical information. Is that right?
Yeah, no, but it's a different format. So the whole technology, the whole, it's blockchain, and blockchain is really a decentralized information. That's what basically is. So they adopted in the real estate finance, they adopted in real estate information, they adopted the digital identification, in healthcare. So the base, you have to see, this is base of it. This is the algorithm. But they're building other applications, as I mentioned to you, that they are building other applications based by the need of the people. Like one of them is capital market, digital asset, digital identity, energy, as you spoke, government technology, healthcare, insurance, real estate, supply and chain. telecommunication, and trade and finance. So it's heading to a lot of different places, but every of those industry behind. That's what IBM in this business, they are getting in, and they've been for a long time. MIT and other places, and Oracle. So you have to see these. And we're talking about the blockchain, not particular, application of it. So the blockchain is basically it's the every application is different. Some of them is work, some of us are nonsense, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? But it's still it's all for what works basically. It's going to be working decentralized information. You cannot go one place and hack somewhere. You follow me? You have it at your and this is what's best part of it. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. What makes that so secure? Is it the fact that none of the blocks are changeable? It's immutable. Is that what makes it secure?
Yeah, it's crypto. All these blocks. Let's say you want to get, and that's one of the applications. For instance, I will give instance. So like for it's going to be working. It's for the title. Like when you buy a house, when you buy a particular place, you need to have to pay title search to find out who owned it. Is it free? Is the title free? And there's not going to be any closing done until that particular, you do the title sales, you pay the insurance on it, and you pay a lot of money basically until, you got it, you get your title, that you have the deed over there. But that's going to change basically because what's going to happen in counties, they're going to be putting on the blockchain technology in the future, and they are doing right now, whatever they have, they're converting all of their data to the blockchain technology. So whatever happened to this particular building or particular land, it's all in the blockchain. Now, to back to your question, is that how would it make it secure? Because it's not going to be in that county anymore. You follow me? So it can be based. It's that piece of information is going to be different places, basically in the computer, in the cloud, on the blockchain. So once somebody gets it at your command, basically, you need to have a key. So you have the key. You can just here's my title, here's my key. All this information came in a way of a crypto. So that's what nobody can kind of see it. That's what makes it different. That is secure and it's transparent. You can't change the information. The information is there. There's no way you can duplicate the title. That's what basically is. And another example is your credit bureau. Right now, the biggest thing CBI, Equifax, just got, and a lot of these companies, recently about a year ago, and they all got hacked and they stole about 120 million people, information about their credit history and they got hacked basically. And, but if this thing was in technology of blockchain, which they are doing that, they wouldn't be like that because nobody can come and hit certain computer, big data computers and steal all this information. They cannot do that basically because all this information is going to be different places around the world or different places around the country. So, and at your key, you can be able to bring it on. So that's why it is.
Right. So when you're accessing the blockchain, let's say you're going to do a payment from one to another or something similar to that, you need what's called an e-wallet? Is that what they call it, or some kind of
e-wallet? That's what basically it is. It's an e-wallet, and that's what So you have, and a lot of these companies actually banks are adopting it right now. So let's say you go to perhaps simple one that's Zillow, like I send you by the telephone money, to you. So those or your email, those go run by the blockchain. They go to your one go to your bank account, one simple to API to my bank account, your bank account, and the banks right there. So that's where you make these easy transactions quickly. I can just send you money right away, bank to bank or person to person. But in the future, like everything, it's now basically nobody, due to this, COVID-19, and nobody really touch money anymore. You see everybody go to the Starbucks buying a coffee or something like that. They put their telephone right there. That's basically, so money will become, and we're working, actually, the U.S. government, a lot of government they're working on the digital money. We're going to have a digital dollars, So that's what's happening. And the banks take it. So we're not going to be touching money as we, this is something I always say, one of those, it's a very story because I speak different places. We had, coin as a way of, 2 years ago, everybody, I know it's coins are very obsolete. Nobody used coin. But, then we evolved to the paper money, with the Chinese created it. Then we had basically, credit card, everybody using credit card. Now it's very touchless. You do your, your digital, you do payment with it. So this is something that basically is happening. Now, transactions are happening faster on this data on the blockchain. Let's say, when you have a check, I'll give you a check, you give me a check or something. I have to, the banks put this thing over there, and they still do it because they ride on that money, especially I don't want to name them, but, but that's, you give me a check, I can right away and cash that check as soon as they see the money in less than 30 seconds, So you don't have to wait 7 days to clear that. And that's what basically is happening on that blockchain technology because you have that information everywhere, those APIs. It doesn't need to go and, over, to the central bank and other. This is all evolving. So it's paperless money and digital dollar, which is happening. And this is all back to the technology. This is all written on the application of the blockchain back then. So
it's amazing. It's amazing what technology does. You talk about paperless money. If you would have told me even a couple of years ago that I would, phone in a mobile order and pick up my Starbucks at the drive-thru, I would have thought you were crazy. But it happens all the time. So you're right.
But the thing is, the best part of it is that on the blockchain algorithm, it's you can hack it. It's all because the data is not one place that you go and hit it. It's different places. It's crypto. So let's say you were talking about that digital wallet. When you put that digital wallet, it's not going to come from one place so somebody in between can hack it. It comes from 11 different places on the crypto to create that particular transaction. That's the beauty of it. And if it's not, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I need some kind of a key, though, to access that wallet, right? Some kind of a
exactly.
Right?
And the key that. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Where does that key get stored, or do I have to remember it, or how does that work?
No, the key can be on your basically in your wallet. You can put it on your phone, which is not mostly people don't recommend to put it on your phone. So there are companies that have like a credit card. You have to put your passcode, and that's your key basically. On the phone, you don't want to be accessing there. So you're going to have something sort of like a digital credit card type, but, when let's say, for the large transactions, so let's say, you want to go ahead and pay $1,000 or something like that, or you just enter your code and then you put that over there and then it brings those 11 from different places. So on the crypto, be able to pay that money. You have that, you have it. Well, but it doesn't say anybody, and put them in their phone. There's an application you can put in the phone, but there was some problem. Basically, a lot of people scamming. They go and to the telephone company with a fake ID, and and they get, they call SIM swap. So it's not recommended. You need to keep it. It's your wallet. You got to put it in your safe. Let's say you have your title. What do you do with your home title? You put it in safe. Same thing like that. You'll be able to have it.
Are there many companies out there that are creating these e-wallets?
Yeah. They have a lot of companies actually do that. They have very sophisticated, very small. They have very, the keys. They have very sophisticated one, and they're usually these are like coded. Yeah, there's several companies in Silicon Valley. They made them like like a flash memory, or they made it like a credit card type, or they're out there. They call it e-wallet, as you mentioned, or digital wallet.
Right.
Well, it doesn't need to be money. It could be information. That's what it is basically. It could be your health history, your family history, or it's not only money. It's your data. What do you do with your data right now? If you have data, you put it in the save it in your computer, then you save it in cloud. as a backup, and you can basically same thing. You put it in a flash memory and you have it there. But there are some sophisticated one is that it's like a credit card, but you put, let's say you want to give me some money, you have to enter those numbers, then you'll be able to open up that lock, then you'll be able to transaction, then you shut it down quickly.
Do you think that blockchain will change the financial world or have an impact on the Federal Reserve in any significant way in the future?
Yeah, no, they're doing it actually. So right now as we speak, SEC approved a couple of law that writing some application on the digital finance. Basically, they're already doing it. They're doing the capital in a capital market basically, and they're going to be basically some sort of kind of transactions done on the digital money, digital dollar. You'll be able to go and put your money like that in the bank. You don't need to go. Look what happened to this pandemic. In a lot of banks, I don't know you guys in Las Vegas, different places, is shut down. You don't go, you can't find the banks anymore. And that's what, they're not going to be, it's not going to be any more retail. We used to do that online banking. Now you don't have to do everything. You can do it yourself. It's basically, but it's the problem is that, you might get hacked, but not in the blockchain technology. So right now, the bank's going to be, having everything is going to be digital basically, and those applications right on the blockchain. Remember, that's what it's very simple. Blockchain is very simple. Let's say you go to the bank, you put your money there on the digital, until you put it on your command. Once you put that wallet there or you send over there, you send information to them, from different places. And it's all crypto, so you'll be able to do the transactions now. And that's what the U.S. government is working on, the digital dollar. And the banks, OCC, the banks are accepting it. This thing's been going on for a couple of years, but it's going to evolve. It's happening, inevitable.
Yeah, and in light of this year, 2020, being an election year, it would have been nice if the government could have adopted blockchain in terms of voting. So that way, since you can't hack it and you can't go in, you can't manipulate it or anything, it would make for a clean election without all of the turmoil that seems to be going on at this time. So that could be something in the future, perhaps by the time the next presidential election comes around in 2024, even voting could be on the blockchain and considerably change it.
Vicky, this is amazing that you touch on something that they already been working on. One of the big, and that's like voting on the blockchain basically, because it's transparent. Nobody can hack it. Nobody can lie. And there are companies, actually the U.S. government, they're working on that, voting on the blockchain. That's one of the best, and this is unbelievable. I'm glad that you brought up this, because this is one of the applications that they're going to be working for voting. And there's not going to be any kind of a vote fraud, nothing. It's all going to be transparent on the blockchain, basically, because you have everybody's identity. Have to see, when I'm talking about that 11 other pieces come together, one piece could be your identity. One piece could be your social security. One place going to be your number. And one place is that who you vote for. So they're working on this thing to be exactly. And I really believe that in the next election, next 4 years, or other local elections, they're going to be using technology.
Right.
And if somebody Googled right now and said, voting on the blockchain, they see a lot of companies are actually working on that. The government, one of the biggest people are working on these things. It's from the Homeland Security to everything. It's on the blockchain. They're working on that basically.
Yeah, and sometimes events lead to innovation, where in this pandemic and 2020, the horrible year of 2020 has caused a lot of innovation in a lot of different industries. But this is one thing that I really like about the blockchain, is that it's kind of clean. I wouldn't say it's pure, but it's clean because usually a transaction, whatever it is, involves so many people and so many parties, and everybody's got to put their finger in the pie. But with blockchain, you keep it simple, you keep it clean, and you kind of eliminate all third parties and middlemen, and that's what's nice about blockchain.
Yeah.
It's simple
Well
and it's
said.
clean.
Yeah,
and it's safe.
That's well said. Yeah, the digital voting is the way of blockchain. That's what I mean. Actually, the economists and some of the people, and, in this technology, Stanford we've been working on it, MIT working on it. There's a lot of labs have been working on it, basically, on this thing. So there's a lot of other applications coming. Yeah, I mean, there's some paper actually on the digital voting and the using blockchain technology, and it's by economists. And this is a lot of papers. So it's a very, to anybody listening out there, this is a technology actually, to your listeners actually, this is a technology that everybody can go and study it. It's not very complicated because it's just like, Microsoft and, Windows or, the algorithm is like, using the back end, but create application. I am actually a mentor and an advisor at Stanford University. So there's a lot of these so-called, they're not kids, a lot of these people, actually students, and they're coming with different applications. Some of them are very, like the voting is very good. Some of them are just so. For anybody listening out there, this is a technology, especially younger people. If they get knowing about this knowledge about this technology, about blockchain, they can build different applications that they need it, and that's it's just as you said, this innovation is happening, and especially in doing combating. I mean, this is a good opportunity. It's too bad that a lot of people are dying around the world on this, but past that, I think, things going much better. If we had this information on the blockchain, we all probably shut down that place in China and didn't let anybody travel on this thing, or they wouldn't go anywhere in the world. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, because that is just sharing information in the crypto ways, and so everybody knows what's going on. And the best thing, if I describe about what blockchain is, it's transparency. You can't just fake it. You can, you can't use fraud on it. That's what it is basically.
Right.
Because all the information come together. Yeah.
Yeah. And Cindy, your website is fintechworld.com. Is that right?
Yeah, Fintech World, and we're a media company, so we have all of our. We've been around since 2012, and we do conferences around the world, from Silicon Valley, New York, London, and and Harvard University, and most of this stuff, like, we're more of education, so you go to that website, you see a lot of podcasts like yourself, that you have. It's more of education. But myself, I do advise a couple of companies that they're involved in this blockchain technology, and some of the applications works, as I mentioned to you, that we work on the real estate, which is creating crypto assets for the real estate, which is not happening yet because security token is something in the future, and for film industry, we have algorithms called digital film fund. So basically, here's another application for film, because the biggest thing these people that create movies, what it would be a $2 million documentary or $10 million or $100 million, is transparency. They don't know where the money goes all the time. But what happens if anybody report, they know exactly where the money is, what the budget is. So I'm
glad you brought up the security token offering, because what that does, from my understanding, is basically you can tokenize any kind of asset out there, whether it's film, real estate, art, anything really, and provide a digital representation of it, which is done on the blockchain. So are you seeing any really good movement with STOs, security token offerings, which, by the way, I believe have to be approved by the SEC too, right?
Yeah, no, they actually, SEC approved 2 companies that they do security token. You still have to go to a broker-dealer, basically, to FINRA. It's all regulated. It's not that somebody can say, I want to securitize my token. When you go to security and, other thing over there, so you got to actually go with the rule of it, SEC. So SEC has been looking at it, and they approve 1 or 2 companies. But say somebody wants to securitize their asset or real estate and other, they still have to go to a broker-dealer. And the broker-dealers, they're FINRA dealers. You still have to have accredited investors. It's not just anybody can come in. So they're adopting these, as I mentioned to you, and also other things that is evolving, like, a transfer agent, because you still know how many shares. That's something that will happen. And, there are big companies actually behind the scenes that, it goes to their, first of all, to the broker-dealer, then you have this digital asset that, you can have a secondary market liquidation. And that's what you said exactly. That the biggest thing is that, especially for real estate, you can liquidate it. You can put that real estate, on the exchange. So you can be buying it, selling it. And this is something that even for share of the companies, basically. So this is something that's happening in the future. It's not in the very near future. But, SEC, they just didn't want to have, because as you see, a lot of these companies, they started they call it initial coin offering, which was very deregulated, and there was a lot of rip-off happen, basically. And they start going actually after them, right now. They SEC sue a lot of companies, I don't want to name them, but a lot of these people, then it's like anything else on the internet. A lot of these people came and they start something like, ICO, which was very illegal, because raising money, wherever it could be, you have to be regulated, security token is happening, and, but SEC is, and hopefully is doing a very good job right now. They are actually, having two companies to see what's going on, the other part of it. But back to your question, there are bigger companies right now with a very well financed, about 50 million to 100 million, that they see these things a way of a future, basically. So
we're
secondary market.
We're actually working with a few of them right now that are doing real estate all the way to tokenization of athletes' contracts and things like that. I have a feeling that real estate agents and brokers and title people and insurance people, I think they're going to be in for a very big surprise in a very short period of time. So, like Vicky said a very good statement. It cuts out the middleman. That's what basically is. Whatever it is. So I'm still, but I really do, I'm in Silicon Valley, and I never liked the word. I go to, speak different places, and they said this is, they introduced me and all these things. I never liked word disruption, and we're going to come and put you out of business thing. It's the way it is, but, you need to go with the technology, and that's what something, and real estate people, they have to adopt, and other people, they have to adopt, have a knowledge of, and thanks to your program, basically, to learn, and this is the way coming future, and kind of learn about it, adopt themselves and knowledgeable, themselves, and go with the technology. There's nobody disrupting anywhere. Everybody still have to, make a living and, more education, more adopting, technology, which real estate people do right now. I went yesterday to look at the, apartment somewhere from one of my friends, and, the key and the apartment was one of those, on the app on the phone, and right now real estate people using it. So the technology helps a lot of these people, but they have to be knowledgeable about what's going on. And this is an inevitable technology, which is blockchain, is going to affect everything that we do right now. So,
right, and you can't be afraid of it. You can't be afraid of new technology and what's happening in the future. And a lot of people, I think blockchain and automatically think Bitcoin, but it's not at all the same. And Bitcoin tends to leave a kind of bad taste in people's mouths because of all the scandal associated with it. But blockchain is such a special thing for the future. It's like it's the world of tomorrow, and you have to not be afraid of it. You have to embrace it. And as you say, you have to understand it, and that's only through education. And who knows what, once you know about it, who knows what how you can innovate and how you can adapt it for whatever industry or world that you live in. It's like brand new, and I love blockchain. I think blockchain definitely is the future.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know that, but also even that digital money, you're talking about Bitcoin and anything over there. I mean, it's a bad day because the bankers in the beginning, they come bad-mouthed,
Exactly.
and, well, and, when we don't want to name over there, but, they usually, if something come like that, then say, oh, this is not good, this is not thing. But in the way, in the back end, they start buying it, Right now, Square just bought $50 million off the Bitcoin, and so what do they want? That's one of the biggest company because the Bitcoin, it's a limited, it's only 21 million Bitcoin. It's not that they can print it out there, fractional.
Right.
So some of these things, if you heard a bad word, another thing over there, because, and like any investment, you need to be careful. See, that's something that,
exactly.
you got to be, that's what your program is about. And, anybody wants to invest in some of these companies that they're using, blockchain technology, you have to see if the application work or not work. Some of it, is just like crap. You guys in Vegas is like crapshoot. I mean, does it come or not? But it is really, it is like investment is gambling. But go back to, everybody sees the Bitcoin as a bad name and stuff. Not anymore. I mean, people that made money on it, they see that, some of the Silicon Valley. But if you want to profit from it and buy it and sell it tomorrow, it's not going to be yours. But a lot of people behind the scenes right now, a lot of Wall Street asset management right now, they have Bitcoin funds, and they're doing very good in OTC marketplace. I mean, and I have friends actually, they bought it in the early days, and but they're cashing and they put it. This is what's happening around the country. Why you think even in Vegas or different places? Why do you think all of a sudden this pandemic and people 30 million unemployment, people, why the housing market is very tight? There's no inventory because they made money on the stock market, they cash it in, and they put it in their hard asset, which is real estate. This is what's going on. A lot of people buying real estate, they're cashing out because they know it's crazy, So that's what basically you have to know what you're doing with your assets and some good advice, whether it will be accountant, will it be investment advisor that you trust, and you can't just take your hands and blockchain, I'm going to put my money somewhere. That's not going to work out. But if the audience right now that you have is young students, somebody right off the college and has computer background, or entrepreneurs wants to find somehow adopt this technology to some of their application, I suggest, I recommend to go out there and, put blockchain, read some of the good stuff, which has come from MIT, Stanford, PwC, and they're in any industry. So there are these projections about what's going on in blockchain, and they're going to get they're going to find their own ways, to create something, you never know, create something very great,
Right.
And that's what they are.
It's like anything else. You have to do your due diligence. You have to understand and have some amount of knowledge about what you're doing. You can't just jump in blind and hope everything's going to work out great. You have to do due diligence and get knowledge and information.
Yeah, and Sydney, you're being modest, telling people to go to Google, because if they go to your website, fintechworld.com, you'll see all kinds of different articles and videos and different topics. I don't know. You must have a staff of thousands on there with all the stuff that you put on this website. It's really comprehensive.
We have friends like you that basically some of what we do, some of it we have podcasts from you guys, and just sharing information. That's what it is. It's about. We're proud of it. Basically, we've been doing it since 2012. We're very transparent about what's reality, what's not. There's no empty promises. We're education, basically. But myself, I work in a couple of projects which I really believe in, and one is real estate, one is entrepreneurship. Basically, we have a site called Crowdfunding USA. So our media is media, but Fintech World, we have a couple of algorithms. One is in the film industry. It's called, Digital Film Fund. The other one is in stem cells, so we're believing very much in stem cell in the future, for, medicine, for, other things, basically, that it's going to happen. Right now nobody can do it. And the other one is for entrepreneurship and the real estate. So we work in a couple of algorithms that we've been focusing for a long time, But again, we're waiting everything to open up on the from the security token. So as SEC is evolving and having, opening up this thing with the regulation and compliance, that's what we go basically. There is no, so, and we're really believing that over there. But I appreciate you mentioning Fintech World.
Yeah, and I hope when those things come to fruition, we can get 3 more podcasts out of you on that. That sounds like a good
no
topic.
Problem. Thanks. Well, but one of the good things Vicky mentioned about, this is that's the government is working some of, like, airplane part is a big thing basically, and then people can see transparent where they spend this part. Healthcare is very big thing. Yeah, exactly. And the voting. This is a very big, this having voted on the blockchain is amazing. That's what, and there are some paper writing on that and digital voting with the use of the blockchain technology. But I appreciate you guys and really much. And and if anybody wanted to get in touch with me, I am in the LinkedIn, Sydney Armani, and SYDNEY ARMANI. And sometimes it takes me some time to get into, but if like you said, anybody wants to know about some of this information, go to the Fintech World.
Great. What do you think, Vicky?
I think it's fabulous. Like I said, I love blockchain, and I think it's the future. And Sydney is doing a great service because he's providing the information and the education and helping people to understand it. So kudos to you, Sydney, for doing such a good job of letting people know, and especially being a mentor to the younger generation coming up, and helping them to understand where to go and how to use it most efficiently and with most integrity.
Yeah, no, and well, thank you very much, Vicky, and for this managing this. I'm very honored to be in your podcast, but to all the young people out there, and I think this year for all of us, we kind of in the middle of the road. We find out we know this thing's gonna end. We're gonna find a vaccine on this pandemic, and we're gonna have a better year coming. But this year, these younger people had it very hard. The kids, they just graduate from college. The kids that graduate from high school. They really didn't have a good year basically because that's uncertainty. But we know things gonna get better. This has always happened. And we live the best place in the world, America, and the future is bright. And blockchain technology is a big part of it.
Couldn't agree more.
And sometimes you need that impetus, like this horrible a virus that has happened that causes a shift. And even though it was hard and difficult and that, we lived through it, we survived it, and it will actually make our world better because of it.
Yeah, well, if anything got our families together, we find out what's real or not. But I close with your guys with this quote from the Churchill during the war. He said, "Optimist sees in opportunity in any danger. Pessimist sees danger in any opportunity." So,
right.
As you said, Vicky, so there is some opportunities out there, and but it's work with the knowledge, listening to these podcasts, people like you guys, and thank you very much for putting this podcast together.
Our pleasure.
Welcome, and thank you for being on. Vicky, thanks for co-hosting it with me. And folks, you're listening to the Mappable USA podcast at mappableusa.com. If you go to that website, you'll scroll down, you'll see all our syndication sources. Pick the one you like best so you never miss another episode. If you want to be a guest on the show, like Sydney was today, there's a guest tab. You can click on that, fill it out. We'll see what we do by getting on the show. If you like what you heard today, send us an email, info@mappableusa.com, or just comment on whatever page that you're listening to this on right now. So thanks for your support. Thanks for listening. And we'll be back at you next week with another Mappable USA podcast. Have a great week, everyone.